Hi there, welcome back. This is the fifth video in a series of videos for study methods. In our previous video, we have seen how to take notes from lectures, from meetings, and before that, we also saw how to take lectures from reading materials. And now we deal in this video. We're gonna deal with organizing the notice we've collected. So the organization, as we said, is very important, and we will go through a very much personalized. What I mean is less standard way of organizing information. This is very important for chunking, associating, and also making remembering very easy. So let's go. As we said, organizing is very important. Before we organize our note, as I mentioned in the previous radio, we have to upgrade our lecture notes from different sources, from the library, from our friends, and from the web if you have access to. And then we will have a very rich, very strong material for our examination and even for our further knowledge and research. So it is really good. We develop our information first. The information we collect from lecture hall first by consulting to our friends, by reading books that are provided as a reference, and also by going into the websites is maybe looking at the videos, maybe reading text materials from online and develop it. Then by this time we'll have a very large amount of information. So then what we have to do is, because we can't remember everything we have to summarize that information back at least to half of it. Read through, get more information, and form knowledge out of that. And then once we know that, we don't even know that much, but still, because we have to read until the end, until the exam time, we have to make it shorter. We have to summarize. This in a way encourages rote memory, but it is not like this. It is because we are limited in our capacity to remember large information. We have to make shorter. We just not cut into half and into quarter. We have to um, read, understand it, and then avoid anything we know. We don't have to include anything we know in our note because we know it. I am sure nobody studies 10 plus 10 is 20. We know it already. Or this is a very simple example, but if we know something from the resource we are reading, if we go to the lecture room and the teacher tells us, yeah, this country is like that, or this river is that much, this river is found in that country, we know already. We don't have to take that note at all, and it shouldn't be in our note because we know it already. So when we remove those things that we know, we reduce the volume of our note. What is that help for? It is help because when we read, we don't read those we know, and we don't waste our time. We only read what we don't know. When we do that, the volume of our note will be shorter. No, it will be less volume, And then when we read more on that and then summarize it again, and the volume is very shorter. We don't have to include lots of tools and this and with this, and if they are not important really. If these are other words, what they call it, the stop words, that lots of them, and they make our notes very bulky, very big. If they are not really there for linking concepts, ideas, we don't need them. We have to make them. We have to take them out of our notes. Then our note will be very short and we can read on them. So summarizing the notes, the lecture note, let's say, or the note we have for a subject, for a module, will be reduced as soon as by the time we are approaching the exam, the end of the term, for example, we have 2, 3 versions of the same note. The whole version, the summarized one, and the last one we study on the exam that we have to focus on. Why is that important? This is very important because by doing those, we will actually be able to remember most of the materials in there on the exam room. That's where it is important. We are not in a position to remember everything. We are not in a position to write everything, but when we summarize it, we are better remember the things. So we will have our half summary, and we will organize that note in different ways. We will come to that how we can organize it. And the last point here, mock up important points. That's also good. Sometimes we remember that things that are visually appealing, visually different from others. But if we do everything, then it is a mess. We don't. We don't. It is not. It is not useful. It is not helpful. But if we think it's important, we can put markers, bolds, underlines, different colors, and so on. And then if it is everywhere, it is no use. But when we think is very important, when we think that will appear definitely in the exam room. When we have the clue from the teacher, the information from the teacher that such kind of questions may appear in the test, then that's the time when we have to go on. And there are many ways to organize notes. We organize because that organized information is put together in some kind of relationships, some kind of associations, and we chunk them as we said in the previous videos. If you didn't hear, to go back to listen to my previous videos. And when chunked together, when organized, the information will be easy to remember. So there are different ways to organize. One is charting. We can make different charts to remember if the information flow looks like this. This is a simple example though, but the information flow could be like clustering, like, or organization or grouping like this. So we can have a hierarchy after a hierarchy. Then the teacher may ask for the hierarchy, or maybe ask maybe where is this element in that category in chemistry, in predictable, for example. The only way to know is where the group is, where the element is, and what makes that element from others different, and why it is grouped in that category as well. So we need to know some logical procedures that is used to make a predictable. Predictable is a predictable organization following some kind of clustering, associations, characteristics, and so on. So that is where we have to follow. We can use the same for our own note taking and organizing stuff. And the other one is where, sorry, that is inclusive. Um, when we have such information as that we have a centrality or some networks, or maybe some kind of inclusiveness like in here. So we can put like that. So we can label them, and we can also organize them like this. So we have a network informations, or the information where we have to include one into the other. Uh, this is one way, rather than keeping them separately. When we bring them together, one help us to remember the other, and that because this information uh, is a chain of facts put together properly, and that chain will lead to another chained concept or idea, and then we remember them. That's why actually it's very important that we organize our note, and we can also organize like there is relationships as well. If one is related to another, if one is uh, uh, very much close to another, if one is, for example, look at this, this has a concept of hierarchy, but it is here, it is to show relationships, which is under what is like administration, public administrations, like. So one is relationship as a subordinate and to another one. So that way we can have this Venn diagram, how the relationship works. You can remember this from your algebra class, sorry, set class, set theory class. So that's really helpful to do information like that. You organize information like that. Remember again, we remember visual stuff more than textual stuff. We remember visuals, if we put like that. We remember much, much more far beyond any other form of text. So if we put like a diagram like this and put our note around it, we remember in the classroom. This could be one of our summaries. Could be bar graphs as well if you have to process information. Rather than remembering the facts one by one, we can just put stuff like this together, and that visual bar will remember us to help us to remember facts. By the way, this is not accurate data. This is um, a fake data, so don't take as it is real. But these are regions in Ethiopia where I came from. If you are my listeners or watchers are from other country, um, so we can organize our information like that to make it visually appealing, and then we can remember it as well. And this is the very common classroom note taking is this. This I use too much. When the teacher says this concept is divided into three or into four, I start branching out. Right branch, on each branch, write one. Or then if you look at this the branch at the bottom, it branches into three, and each one has its own sub branches. So this will help us to remember. So this, in this case, one concept is divided into four, and in each one of them, then one of them has branches of so on. So you have these branches names and so on. That will really help you remember. Is it four or three? Here you can, if you see that diagram, oh, it is four. Yeah, at least you can remember there are four, and then you write them. So the most important thing here is try to make either concepts or facts, make them uh, diagrammatical, make them pictorial, because we remember something that is uh, image than text or any other form of message. This is very important in organizing nets, and we will continue on organizing after a few in the next video as well. Thank you very much. If you have questions and comments, you are welcome to do so. Put down under this video. Thank you for listening. And this is the references from where this study materials is developed. You can go back to these books, and you can read about them. I'm sorry if you can't get this. I got these books in from Trinity College Dublin in Ireland. If you are in Ireland, you can go to maybe go to Trinity and get those. If you are not in Ireland, maybe find these books online, and you may get maybe the version of some of them are already older. Hope they will be available online. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye bye.